Greetings, trombonists at large. I am the Vagrant Trombone, here to talk to you today about the 11C mouthpiece. Why? Because I have some, and I just thought we'd share this today. So let's get started. So we're going to talk about the 11C mouthpiece. But before we do that, we've got to go back to a piece of ancient parchment that I have here to be able to talk about the parts of a mouthpiece so that we can be closer to the same page, so to speak. And that would be this ancient chart, this piece of lost, this treasure map from decades ago, or not decades, but years. And this is the diagram that I made of a mouthpiece for another video a long time ago. This would be the crown of the rim, and this would be the bite of the rim down to the contour of the inside of the cup, to the shoulder of the mouthpiece, into the venturi, and the drill, where you get your bore size to the back bore of the mouthpiece. Now, after going over that, we can now talk about the 11C. So the 11C in its stock form, if you just get a regular 11C, the 11C mouthpiece is a mouthpiece that Bach refers to as having a medium rim with a semi-round contour or crown and a medium shallow cup. And then it comes down to a 230 drill. Why they use millimeters at the top and thousandths of an inch for the bore, I don't know, but they do. Then we get to the back bore, which is Bach's 402 back bore, which they refer to as their lyric back bore. One of the things to understand about Bach mouthpieces is when they refer to a medium depth cup, they're using a geometric formula that they have for determining the the diameter of the rim to the depth of the cup. So if I have an 11 mouthpiece, where I actually have an 11, the 11 has a medium deep cup. Now, the medium shallow and medium deep, they have shallow and deep, and it's kind of like piano and forte. You've got mezzo piano and mezzo forte, right? They're kind of in there, neither, not really one, not really the other. But if you take this mouthpiece and you go to a 9, which is the exact same contour, same shape, even the same drill on the bottom, it's ever so slightly bigger across the rim, which makes it ever so slightly deeper in the cup, even though the cup is still described as a medium deep cup. If we go to a 6, the 6 has a bigger rim. It has the same rim diameter, slightly larger than a 6.5 AL, but it has a deeper cup, even though the cup on that mouthpiece is still referred to as medium deep. So understanding that they use geometry for some measurements of their mouthpieces, they use millimeters for other measurements of the mouthpiece, and then they use a thousandth of an inch for still other measurements on the mouthpiece. This is because as the mouthpieces evolved, they found other methods that were just better at describing the mouth. Standard 11 mouthpiece has the medium deep, but people wanted a shallower cup, so he created the C cup, which is a little more shallow. Exact same cutting tools, exact same drill, exact same blank, exact same crown on the mouthpiece cup, on the mouthpiece rim. The only difference is one is just a little deeper. So with that understood, the 11C is one of the most common mouthpieces found in the professional studio musicians, among studio players. A lot of companies, a lot of other manufacturers make mouthpieces that have very similar dimensions to the 11C. The 11C is kind of a baseline for a lot of other mouthpieces and mouthpiece manufacturers. What I've found is oftentimes when you do a little research on some of these mouthpieces, like the Marcinkwitz mouthpieces, they're actually copies of someone else's mouthpiece, like Charlie Loper. Charlie Loper has a mouthpiece that Marcinkwitz makes, and basically it's an 11C that Charlie had, or someone else had, modified by John Peppitano, who was a machinist at Bach, and he would make a lot of modifications to guys. He would customize a lot of guys' mouthpieces. Peppy used to do this for a lot of guys. He's the one who modified Bill Watrous' mouthpiece. He also did things like modify Bill Watrous' trombone slides. He did this for a number of other players around town, including my father. And some of those modifications that he was most known for actually became part of the standard of instruments that you could order from Bach. One of those modifications that he would make on an 11C was opening up the drill from 230 to 234. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it makes a difference. Another thing he was known for was for rounding off the shoulder of the inside of the mouthpiece. Now, I have a copy of an 11C that's supposedly copied from Bill Watrous' mouthpiece, and that's exactly what it is. It's slightly cut down in the shoulder, and it has the hole opened up to 234. So these were very common modifications that were made to Bach 11Cs, and sometimes they became available from Bach, like the M gooseneck on the 16 bell, or the lightweight M slide. Those are copies of standard modifications that Peppy would make to guys' horns. The 234 drill is also something that you'll find as a standard on the Artisan mouthpieces that Bach offers. The difference is the blank is a different size. The crown and the contour used on the cutters for the inside of the mouthpiece are the same. The difference is it has that slightly larger 234 drill and a little more weight on the outside. Now, some Artisan mouthpieces do not come with a 234 drill. You've got to look for the 234. They are still 230. They are exactly the same as a standard Bach mouthpiece. I have one that has the 234 drill, and it also has a slightly rounded shoulder. That makes it more like my Watrous mouthpiece. The reason why I don't use a Watrous mouthpiece, even though it has a very sweet sound, and it is very warm sounding, is because when I go to play really loud on it, it doesn't like it as much. I find that the extra meat on the blank, on the exterior contour of the mouthpiece, really helps with that. One of the mouthpieces that I used to use quite a bit when I was playing on my Bach 6-4 tenor trombone, which is a 485 bore trombone, is this mouthpiece, which is also a Peppy mouthpiece. But it, as you can see, it was greatly modified. It has been skeletonized on the outside. It has the rounded shoulder, and it also has a very large 265 drill, which is really big. That's the same as the classical drill, or the same drill size that they use on a 6.5 AL. So it's really big. But this mouthpiece is slightly shallower in the cup, which gives it a brighter sound, even though it is opened up and drilled out. And the reason why was because it was recrowned. This mouthpiece is shorter than a standard 11C because Peppy cut off the original crown on this mouthpiece and recontoured the rim, which makes the cup that much more shallow. Artisan mouthpieces that come with that 234 drill, you can also get the 234 drill in the Megatone mouthpieces. The Megatone also has that larger drill that comes standard. With a slightly more rounded, because it has that larger drill, it also happens to have a slightly more rounded contour. So, yeah, these mouthpieces all have slightly different playing characteristics. Now, something important to know is if you have two 11Cs or two Artisan 11Cs, they're not going to play the same. Every mouthpiece has its quirks. Every mouthpiece plays a little differently. It's just how it is. because every person who makes the mouthpiece, even if you have a CNC machine manufacturing all of your mouthpieces, you still have to have someone sand the mouthpiece and finish the mouthpiece. Polish it, buff it down, and polish it. And though the person who's working the machine may make very consistent mouthpieces one to the other on his machine in the line, the guy standing next to him on the other machine may make really consistent mouthpieces too, but he's not going to make them consistently the same as the person standing at the other machine or working on the different day or the different week or the different decade or different century in this case. So let's play this a little bit and see what they sound like. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it or not. We'll find out. The Artisan mouthpiece. I like this mouthpiece. It's really good for playing loud on, which I can't demonstrate on a microphone. But it works really well for playing loud. It's got a more focused sound. It's a little darker, which I like too. It works really well in my LT16M. The standard Bach 11C, it is a slightly warmer sounding, but it's a little harder to play down low, in part possibly because of that 2-3-0 instead of 2-3-4 drill. Slightly more nasally sound. I can't play as loud on this in the low and mid register. If I take a mouthpiece that has a slightly more opened up drill that is in that standard bore, like the Kaplan mouthpiece, it's got a little more warmth. This plays a little sharp because it goes into my horn a little bit farther. Sorry about that. But it plays with great warmth and nice focus. But again, it's a little hard to play loud. If I use the skeletonized Pepe mouthpiece, you'll hear that shallower cup. It's got a slightly wider sound, but it's definitely got more core center, higher overtones because of that shallow depth. Because of the situation I'm in, where I play some lead, and I find myself playing some jazz, I find that the 11C really is a great mouthpiece for me. Now, it is a brighter sound than you're going to get with bigger equipment. I myself used to play larger equipment. For years, I played bigger mouthpieces. All the scar tissue of abuse that I've built up on my face really likes the 11 contour. And the 11C Artisan really is the mouthpiece that I find them to be the most comfortable. I've often wanted to change, but I always seem to find myself coming back to either my 11, my Watrous 11C, or my Artisan recut, my trimmed Artisan 11C trim that I had the shoulder taken down, and it has the 2-3-4 drill. And, well, that's kind of it. I hope you found this video interesting. I hope you found what you were looking for. And until next time, maybe I'll see you on the bandstand.